David, just how impressive was a result like that, especially after going behind?
Really impressive. We started really slow, and didn't really. I've got to say they started well. They had a great start to the game. Their goal, and they hit the bar. And we probably only really came alive once they hit the bar on the second one. But nevertheless, look, winning the Premier League, whoever you're playing, is really difficult. Today was difficult, but after Thursday night, going a goal behind, the boys showed really big character, and I thought we created enough chances in the first half. Maybe that we deserved to be at least a draw. Gianluca get in and whip shot down the side. He had a header. The goalkeeper made a really good save from. So we had 2 or 3 big opportunities ourselves, and then we got the penalty kick, which was correct decision.
Was it a case of Craig Dawson using all of his experience to earn that penalty, but he knew Pereira was tugged at him a few times?
I'd probably go the opposite way. I'd say that it would probably look like, I would be really annoyed if one of my defenders had defended like that. We've just back with a league managers meeting where we talked a little bit about defending, and if you're going to use 2 arms in a sort of cupping position, I would use the word cupping. If you're going to use 2 arms in cup MD, well, that's not allowed in this game. Now what you do is if you're defending and you're trying to keep somebody away, you tend to use one arm and you try to keep the distance, keep them close, and you can't stop somebody going. That's not for this sport. And actually, I was surprised that the referee hadn't maybe made the call even sooner, because he gave him two chances, I think, before he made it on the third.
And just on the lengthy VAR delay on Scamacca's goal, have you seen it back?
I have, yeah, I've seen it back. I saw a little bit at the touchline when it as well, and I saw it when it came on the big screen. That's when I saw it, and when I saw it, I thought he hadn't celebrated because he thought he was offside, but they're telling me he was onside, and I've seen it since. And actually he controls it, and it sort of comes down at the side, and actually, if anything, it looks more like he's going to hit his backside on the right hand side. So, from my point of view, I don't see a hand involved in it at all. Obviously, if you're Fulham, you're going to say that you definitely see a hand involved in it. I can't see anything which changes the direction of the ball. I can't see anything which had a huge impact, and I know the rules now, anything which is a touch of your hand would lead to it. So I didn't see it, and I've got to say, it took such a long time. I thought it was going to go against us in the end, but it went for us.
Well, like I say, it took, I think, around 3 minutes to make that decision.
Yeah.
There needs to be a quicker way of doing it. I know it's a tight one, but...
Yeah, I've got to say that if the angle we saw on the big screen, I didn't think it looked as if it hit his hand at all. As I said, I thought it looked as if he'd controlled and it was slightly behind him. And but there you go.
The finish was fantastic chip from
It was.
And that's probably through the week now where he's shown that. I think it's now showing really why we spent that money on him.
Yeah, I think that what he's shown is that he's not a one-trick pony when it comes to goal scoring. He scored with. I actually fancied him, the one he get down and he shot past the post. He had a really good header, which the goalkeeper makes a good save from, and today he scores a bit of a deft chip, and sometimes that action in the game at the moment, a lot of the forwards might not finish it off because he might have thought he was offside, but he done the job and he finished the action off, because if it had been onside, the last thing he'd have wanted to do is not deal with it or not put it over the bar or do something. So he done it well, and it gave us a chance of getting a goal.
To do that, I mean, given he missed 3 in the first half, so he could have dropped his head instead of producing a finish like that. That must be pleasing.
It is, because I think that said there on the TV, I think that if you're a young striker coming into this country and you look at the strikers, and you said that we spent a lot of money, but probably not close to what many of the teams in the top half of the league regarding centre forwards. So we brought in a young centre forward who's doing really well, and young, and I think will get better as well. And he's got a lot of different elements to the game, changes the way we play a little bit. It's taken a little bit of time, but I think that his finishing and his composure at times on the ball and his link-up play was very good.
Just on the relationship it looks like he's got already with Paqueta, are you even surprised maybe just how quickly those two seem to be?
Well, I actually said there, I says that if you were any centre forward, I think you'd want to play with Paqueta, because he looks like he's someone who's going to give you the ball at moments when maybe you need it. or when the opposition least expect it. I thought there was bits of Paqueta today were terrific, and then there was other bits which I thought were poor. So I think at the moment it's the bit between the really high and the low. But I thought today he played ever so well.
You obviously signed Scamacca a little bit earlier in the summer. I mean, was it almost a case of needing that kind of creative player as well, just to make sure you get the best out of him?
We were looking for someone else who could sort of link the play between Declan and Thomas and there before we got to the centre forward. We needed someone in that, and we were linked with a lot of players, and some of them we couldn't get and some we did. But Paqueta we didn't think was available to us till really late on. And we thought he was going to one of the bigger clubs, and in the end he didn't. So it gave us a chance to get him, and I'm glad we've got him. I think he's a great boy, I have to say, really good boy, and the difference as well, as just saying, is his work rate and his energy for the team's really a big part of him as well. It's not just about the passes and the flicks and the movement what he can do, but he's a really good hard working boy as well.
3 wins in 9 days now, and you were confident that things would click kind of the other side of the international break. Does it feel like your season's really up and running now?
Yeah, you might correct me, somebody said 5 and 6, is that right? So 5 and 6, whatever it is still something you have to do. So look, we're going in the right direction, but there's still bits of it I need to try and get better. I'm waiting on Nathan Agard coming back. We've played the first 3 or 4 games without Craig Dawson, and we hardly had any defenders in some of the early games. We're beginning to get people back, and I'm beginning to feel as if we're finding a little bit of a rhythm. There's signs that we're creating a few more chances. Early in the early games we couldn't score a goal. Today we probably made 5 or 6 pretty good opportunities, and I've got to say it was great that Mickey scored a goal as well, because he's a huge part of the team here, and we're going to need him. And it'll never be easy if you're starting Mickey Antonio and bringing Gianluca on, or if you're starting Gianluca and bringing Mickey Antonio on. It'll give us options to do that, and hopefully we can try and cause teams the problems with those players.
The guy on the PA said before kick-off, what the bench would have for you
Did
today.
he?
And I wonder, do you feel this is the most depth you've had since you've been?
I think that was David Sullivan, who was the announcer. yeah. So, do you want to know the plan was to strengthen the team. The plan was to try and be better than what we've been in the last couple of years. The plan was to be able to play in Europe with, I wouldn't say a completely different team, but have enough players, and obviously have a real go in the Premier League. And I have to say, the club and the board have been fantastic. You can see that they've tried to back us. What we've just had is just at the start, trying to bring boys in like Maxwell Corney, no games, very little training, Gianluca a little bit, and it sounds excusey, and I take that, but it has generally been the case. And then we had no defenders in the opening games. Dawson injured for 6 weeks with thigh strain, and Agard does his ankle at Rangers. So a lot of the plans which we had made it a little bit more difficult. But I know how it goes. You have to win, and suddenly we're just beginning to find a little bit, or creeping back into it. I just say that when we started, sorry I'm talking a bit long here, when we started and we were bottom of the league, not bottom, fourth bottom of the league, we had to find a way of grinding ourselves up. In probably 2 years we've gone from fourth bottom of the league to challenging the top 4 in the Premier League, and that takes a lot of doing, and it takes a lot for us. The effort the players have put in has been unbelievable, but then for us really to sustain it and maintain it, then I felt as if my experience has said, if I don't go and add players to it, and I don't go and try and take on a young Italian centre forward, because we couldn't pay 60 million or 70 million for other centre forwards, we had to try and take. So it might look nailed on sort of players, but in truth a lot of the ones we're having to take are still sort of risk players in where we are. Agard never played over here before. We think a lot of him. We'd buy Flynn down from Swansea. So we're still in a way, we're still at a level where we're building a team to try and be competitive at the top, but probably still short of what the top boys do.
David, I just wanted to ask on Paqueta, did you see a player that's growing? You can't, obviously he got his assist on Thursday, another one tonight, great. Like a job.
Yeah, I thought he just felt as if he looked a little bit stronger, a bit fitter today as well, which he's got. But I think that they're all finding the speed of the Premier League, and you can see, we've got people like Declan Rice to you can see they're at the end of the game they're washed out, because the effort you're having to put in to win games or chase them if you're losing or hang in when you're 1-0 up. It's an enormous effort at the moment what the players are putting in, and obviously players are travelling on a Thursday, we're playing on a Sunday, it's less prep time, less rest time. So for us to win a couple of games at home after European games and winning midweek as well has been a really good week.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Win as many games as you can throughout the season, but with the World Cup coming up and only in a month's time, it was important that you got away from the very bottom.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I've said in the last year or two, I hope that we never go back to where we were when we took over. The point of the matter is, you have to earn it, and you look at some of the clubs. At the moment, the Premier League is unforgiving, and there's obviously games you're always going to look at and say, "Oh, this looks as if on paper," but I really mean it. I think there's a really tightening up of the teams, really little between the teams. And I thought that today. I mean, Fulham could have gone 2-0 up with a shot that hits the bar, and that's the small margins. I could be talking completely different in this room today if maybe that had happened. But so you have to take what you can, and today we took it. But I thought in the end it was deserved because of the way we went about it and the chances we had and scored and missed.